Hey there, fellow kids. It's me, a human. I've just come to ask, what's the deal with being a millennial? Student debt, am I right? Well, it's worth noting that I, as a human, also hate student debt. I don't want to be negative AF, but life can be full of fakers. And what really slaps these days is realness. You see, I'm real. And that's great because today's youths want something real, something authentic. They don't want Leave It to Beaver or those whack posers at Clever Crevice. No. They want a pickle rolling around in rat feces. Have I asked you to decimate that bell yet so that you can know whenever an episode drops or podcasting live? It would really help me fill my purpose. I sometimes get sad, so subscribing to Culture Binge on RSS would really do a lot to help with my seasonal depression. Please be my friend.
Okay, in all seriousness, today I'm here to talk about those raw, authentic human emotions. Or at least how the appearance of those emotions has become a marketing strategy for some brands, and how that strategy can help us understand things like Sonic making a Hello Fellow Brands meme about fan outrage, or literally any Deadpool ad.
Kind of prefer Marvel movies. We are Marvel. Yeah, but you're, Marvel licensed by Fox. It's like if the Beatles were produced by Nickelback. It's music, but it sucks.
The most notable recent example is Burger King. In their latest Real Meal campaign, Burger King started raw-dogging reality by offering angsty alternatives to their smarmy competitors' Happy Meals. With Burger King, you can finally express yourself with the aptly named Blue Meal, or a Salty Meal, which is not named for the sweet mineral of the gods that will inevitably curse you with hypertension, but for feeling salty. Because emotions matter.
Emotions available for limited time only at select locations. Burger King does not offer or guarantee any emotional experience, nor is it liable for any undesirable emotions experienced after consumption of its products. Because emotions matter as a trademark of Restaurant Brands International, please emote responsibly.
Being real is not new for Burger King or whoever their social media manager is. In April, they asked that their followers pour one out for Google+. Later, they simply tweeted yeet. Of course, Burger King is only one example. In 2009, Pizza Hut tweeted, "Devouring a Supreme personal pan as motivation for my first tweet." In 2017, Wendy's went viral after roasting fellow brands and even its followers. But perhaps the most interesting development of this is that brands are, in fact, becoming people. Or at least their Twitter's first-person usage of the word I suggests this. In response to the closure of iTunes, Burger King tweeted, "And just when I found my iTunes gift cards." Brands becoming self-aware has also been observed at companies like Netflix, HBO, and Seamless. And of course, there's the classic first-person brand that also gets real emotions, as when SunnyD tweeted, "I can't do this anymore," to which Uber Eats replied, "You okay, bro?" And SunnyD replied, "I'm okay." Even this seems weak in comparison to what is perhaps my all-time favorite, Steakums. The producer of emulsified meat slices, who tweeted this in 2018. Why are so many young people flocking to brands on social media for love, guidance, and attention? I'll tell you why. They're isolated from real communities, working service jobs they hate while barely making ends meet, and are living with unchecked personal and mental health problems. We could conversely ask, why are social media brands trading in their corporate cheer for human despair? And unlike Steakums, I don't have a concrete answer in this vlog, but I do have some musings. First, it's worth noting that in my research, this idea of authentic and human brands seems mostly new to the last decade or so. It pops up a few times in the 90s and early 2000s, and sometimes in the context of, say, authentic products versus fake products, but now a brief Google search for terms like authentic branding or authentic marketing shows them littered on sites like Forbes, Inc., Adage, and a slew of other smaller marketing blogs. The idea of realness, humanness, or authenticity in marketing and branding seems to be a response to a basic problem identified by Stephen Brown in the Harvard Business Review in 2003. He argued that whereas the World War II generation saw the rise of the brand via mass media with fresh eyes, they were eventually replaced by subsequent generations that were subjected to branding since infancy. As such, they were savvier. They were aware, as Brown notes, of the campaigners behind the campaign. And as a result, they were harder to market to. This was not some brave realization of millennials, but Gen X, a realization also held by subsequent generations. Brown locates within this problem for marketers 3 strategies to reach wary consumers. 1. You can recruit your consumers as corporate reservists, i.e. brand evangelists who just won't shut the up about how much they love Apple's new $999 stand. 2. You can use nostalgia. Around this time we had the relaunch of the VW Beetle, the Star Wars prequels, and other nostalgic marketing moves. And finally, there's 3. Irony. While we may recognize it as the go-to move of every Deadpool advertisement, Brown thought that even in 2003, ironic marketing had overstayed its welcome. Take for instance the 90s Sprite campaign, Image is Nothing. One ad features a SunnyD parody where a bootleg mascot terrorizes a family. The narrator beckons us to
trust your gut, not some cartoon character.
There's another where we are reminded how much money Grant Hill makes as he plugs the refreshing taste of the lemon lime beverage. The viewer is encouraged to
Drink Sprite because you like it, not because an athlete says he does.
a statement made by a mega corporation paying an athlete to star in their commercial. Compare this to the Rick and Morty Old Spice commercial where Rick counts his ad revenue, and Brown's assertion that irony was becoming old seems to have been patently wrong. But maybe there's some kind of truth to it. What all this leads to is a problem when consumers are inundated with branding like they eventually see through the charade and quickly tire. Is it possible that Coca-Cola is only leveraging world peace for a profit? And then there's the response. Companies like Sprite that say, ha, everybody who buys into Coke's marketing is a sucker. You're not a sucker because we just told you that, in fact, you're in on our scheme to sell you Sprite. This is even weirder when you consider that Coke owns Sprite. Of course, that message also gets old. I can't speak for all of you, but even the latest Trover Saves the Universe ad where Rick and Morty co-creator Justin Roiland plugs his new game chapped my ass a little bit.
Using us to shill this garbage. You should be ashamed of yourself.
And a growing number of memes seem to suggest that people don't quite buy that Uber, Bank of America, or even Taylor Swift really have the well-being of the gay community in mind as they cash in on Pride Month. So, as Browner claims, people search for authenticity. Now, various brands have successfully convinced consumers that they're more than a brand in the past. Authenticity-obsessed hipsters preferred PBR to the seemingly more corporate swill that Budweiser promoted. For a while, Google also had people convinced with their "Don't Be Evil" motto. And nobody would accuse Dan Harmon and Justin Roiland of being some stuffy old suits who make millions of dollars off a global cartoon brand. This quest for authenticity also explains the very structure of YouTube. I literally appear on the screen now because we realized that people connected with on-screen faces and not disembodied narrators. And speaking of connecting with real humans, check out our podcast Culture Binge. Ooh. Brands attempting to infiltrate this real space with real humans has often gone catastrophically wrong.
It's rewind time.
In the world of YouTube, having videos that are overproduced is a liability rather than an asset, which is why Culture Binge Live looks like shit. Just kidding, it's because Alec is a f***ing hipster who won't move to LA. But back to the only Mad King that I recognize the sovereignty of. If on the internet content is increasingly in the hands of influencers and YouTube personalities who are on the surface more honest, then brands also need to seem more honest. So brands start using the first person. What's more authentic than a human? And then they start roasting other brands, and then they start having depression. This isn't a fad so much as it seems dictated by the market. Pepsi essentially tried to remake the Buy a World of Coke commercial for 2017, and we got this nightmare. Similarly, Burger King's real meals were, for the most part, met with jeers. The humanization of brands has also seen an inverse development, the brandification of humans. As entrepreneurs, life coaches, and every goddamn stranger who connected to you on LinkedIn will tell you, to succeed professionally, you have to build a personal brand. Now, what does this mean exactly? I mean, technically, it's learning how to sell yourself and your professional skills. But really, it means turning yourself into a commodity, stripped of all the human quirks which may clash with that brand. Maybe after we get tired of people as brands, we'll go back to looking for real people who are just people turned brands turned back into people. What this really speaks to is that the market will do anything to break the pre-existing script, as we become savvy to whatever the marketing flavor of the week is. If we're used to cynicism, they'll give us authenticity. If we're bored by minimalism, they'll hit us with maximalism. So are we stuck in some sort of perpetual pendulum swing of authenticity and cynicism? Am I a real person, or just the cynical face of a digital-first media brand? I guess the only way to know is to subscribe to Culture Binge, which I've heard described as mainlining reality straight into your brain. Okay, that never really happened, but people really love it, and you can watch me, along with 2 ad-friendly brand ambassadors, breaking down everything both awesome and terribly wrong with culture today. This whole video was born out of a conversation we had on it about Burger King's sad meals, so if you like this video, you'll love the podcast. We've talked about all kinds of great stuff, like the Keanu Sans. How do you guys interact with Keanu Reeves? Are you guys obsessed? You guys love him as much as I do? Online dating.
I don't even know how to translate myself into some sort of online dating digital realm.
Gaming addiction.
So, like, if somebody were to go seek therapy for a gaming addiction, the therapist shouldn't immediately discount it.
Game of Thrones.
My girlfriend said I was talking in my sleep about Game of Thrones.
And more. It's available on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Links are in the description. We'll also be live streaming weekly on Wednesdays at 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific. So, hope to see you there. And as always, thanks for watching, guys. Peace.